I think that what you're really asking is something we call in academia scalability. And scalability is very different from mega project. So scalability, iPhone is an example of scalability. There was not a single iPhone in the world in 2007, and now there are more than 2 billion. And like the container example I gave, it's a very rapidly rising curve. Mega projects can't do that. They take 10 years to build. They take longer to deliver than it took Apple to penetrate the global phone market. And the way Apple penetrated the global phone market was by selling the same phone over and over and over again. It's a box, right? But they perfected the box before they printed 2 billion copies of it. So figure out what is that essential module that you need to do, and then do it over and over again. So with infrastructure, for example, a lot of infrastructure is consumed in incredibly concentrated hotspots. So it's not used across the country. It's used where all the industry is, and that one node will consume, say, 30% of the local infrastructure need. And that gives you an ability, it's a very spatially concentrated area, to then give it a bundle of infrastructure, and you need to do water and energy and transport all in one bundle. You can't just say, oh, this house is going to have water but not electricity. That house is valueless. It's got to have everything. So to answer your first question. And for that, figure out what are those modules. So for instance, it could be a 100 megawatt gas-fired plant that you do one thing and you repeat it over and over again. One thing I might just dissuade you, there is nobody out there in the world that has the capacity or capability to do this for Indonesia. You have to figure this out yourself. You can't just bring them here.
If I can add, well, I think one of the questions was, this notion of starting with one, but you have so many things to do. Where do we start? Perhaps if I can give you the example of Turkey. Turkey started in 2005 with the limited concession scheme that Wayu talked about on the best airport in Turkey, the most profitable, most busiest airport, the Atatürk Airport in Istanbul. They raised $3 billion as upfront payment to the government. Within 10 years, they raised an additional $3 billion from 8 other airports which were transacted in a similar way. And during the same 10 years, they did an additional 17 billion worth of infrastructure investments in ports, in hospital PPPs, in metro, and in power, and in toll roads and tunnels. That is what we are, I guess, Wayu is saying, that if you start with the right project, you attract the right type of investors, the rest will follow. But that requires some level of discipline at the project owner level to choose the right project and not repeat those same mistakes that's been done in the past by giving projects that are not necessarily well prepared or projects that don't make financial sense to the market, which then demoralizes the market once again. So I'm hopeful. In fact, I'm very, very pleased to hear from both the deputy ministers that the current thinking of the government is way ahead of, or in a way, it's in line with the market is expecting, particularly some of the international investor markets, that let's start with a good project that may be more costly for them to invest, but at least it's something that they're willing to invest in because the return will be proportional to the investment. Any other final question before we close? Okay. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the two deputy ministers, Dr. Wismana, Dr. Wayu. Thank you so much for your input, and we are really pleased to hear some of the innovative new approaches that the government is exploring. Nick, thank you for coming all the way from London to share some of the new insights in terms of what are the way the projects are being managed. Dr. Danang, again, your contribution has been extremely useful to understand what are the youth in the country are thinking, and the fact that you are bringing them to participate. I think that is a great movement. I wish you well. Atif, thank you for coming all the way from Oxford. In fact, we were both in Oxford on Friday, so we're a little bit jet-lagged coming back. And thank you so much. And the pedagogic session earlier was fantastic. Thank you all, and please give them a warm welcome. I mean, thank you.